this time where I'm going to be creating a witch's wizard's hat, hopefully for Halloween, but we'll see how that goes. It is currently the 12th of October, so I don't have very long to start it and finish it. My name is Chloe. You can find me over on Instagram at snowdrop.crafts. So let's get into the pattern. The pattern I'm using is by Earthrix, and I have bought her pattern on Etsy. I have previously done one other pattern by Earthrix, and I found the pattern to be absolutely glorious, beautiful, very creative, and she definitely has a certain style. There were a few parts that I struggled with or had to adapt slightly, not in terms of the fact that the pattern was advanced, in terms of it didn't feel like there had been a lot of pattern testers that had been through the pattern and made sure every tiny little error was fixed and everything like that, but it still came out beautifully. It still worked up absolutely fine, so I thought it was worth buying another one of her patterns because they are so unique. And the yarn I'm going to use, I was going to buy it online. I wasn't quite sure what exactly I wanted. I knew I wanted a blue themed wizard's hat, but I ended up going to a local yarn store in Wakefield called Wool and Stuff. What a great name. And it was one of the most magnificent places I've ever been. I only found it because I was there. I was waiting for my car to pass its MOT, so I went for a wander around the city of Wakefield, and I found this shop. And the entranceway, I wish I'd filmed some part of it. There were just crochet finished pieces and this massive beautiful autumnal display. Inside the yarn store there were so many different types of yarn. There were shelves and shelves of pattern books, knitting, crochet. There was this beautiful mural. I did take a picture of the mural. I'll pop that here if I can find it. I'm sure I can. And I just thought, whilst I'm here, I might as well support a local yarn store. Not that it's that local to me, I live in Doncaster. But and might as well buy the yarn from this particular place. They were very helpful because the pattern required worsted weight yarn. But obviously I live in the UK, and there are two different almost like translations. So you can have light worsted weight yarn, which requires usually a 4mm hook and is, in the UK terms, that'd be just DK. But there is also just worsted weight yarn, which is in the UK Aran yarn. So we looked at the pattern, worked out it was Aran yarn that it called for, despite the fact that it's a 4mm hook. It's just obviously a tighter tension or tighter gauge, whatever you call it. So I picked up 5 balls of Aran yarn, and hopefully this is going to be enough. So I've got several shades of like blue-green. So these are all Stylecraft Special Aran, and we've got the colour Empire, very rich blue colour. Again, it does look a bit washed out on the camera, but it is really, really rich, very emerald. Then next we have Cornish Blue. This is definitely softer. This is more true to the colour it is on the camera. And then we have one of my favourite colours. It's a sage, and it is called sage as well. Yeah, a sage green yarn here. I have one in black as well for quite a contrast. This is just called black. And then I also picked up one more different type of Aran yarn for a little bit of texture in the hat. And it's Creative Painted Powder. And look how soft that is. So it is 43% acrylic, 41% polyester, 90% polyamide, I don't know, and 7% wool. So I'm really excited to work with this because it's not my usual kind of fibre. This one was a bit more expensive. These were £2.50 each. This one was over £7. But I figured, you're supporting a local yarn shop, it's fine. So I will get into beginning the pattern. I do also need to buy some wire for the brim of the hat. Some 18 gauge wire, I believe, is required in the pattern. I will probably just get that online. I might even Amazon it. I know that's not the most environmentally friendly thing to do, or supporting local businesses kind of thing, but I will probably leave it to the last minute until I need it, and then I will want it the next day. So I'll get into the pattern and I'll keep you updated on how that is going. this is what I've got so far. I've done about the first 20 rows. Before I started, I did do a little diagram of what I wanted each colour to be, or where I wanted each colour to be. Straight away, I went wrong. The first colour is meant to be Cornish blue, and I started with the Empire because my pens don't match up perfectly with the colour yarn, and the one I used for Cornish blue actually matched up better with Empire. But in the end, it was fine. I ended up changing. My plan was for all of this to be one colour, so I ended up making that into two different colours there. In terms of how difficult the pattern is, I think if you are interested in learning new stitches, so more of an advanced beginner, I think so far it would be absolutely fine. This part is just crocheted into the it's the back post, so you just go around the back post to do that, and that's repeated for most of these rows. The puff or the bobble stitch here, also, I don't think I had any problems with that. There was one thing I did have a little problem with. I was going to make a note of it so I'd remember. It was quite fiddly at the beginning, but I think that's because I'm used to working with a lot smaller yarn, and Aran yarn I'm not used to. So doing a lot in just that tiny bit there, I think it was like 6 in the magic circle and then 6 again. That was quite fiddly. But I'm sure these bits were absolutely fine as well. It was quite fun to do. It's just, I love how every part is slightly different. I did miscount this part here where you have these kind of like the tops of the crosses. I haven't done the bottom parts yet, and I had to redo that bit. But other than that, it's working up so quickly as well because it's Aran. The biggest yarn I'm used to using is DK. I'm really enjoying how quickly this is happening. I think I did this in maybe 2 hours last night. What I'll do from now on is I will record how long it's taking me if I remember, so I can give you an accurate estimate of how long it would take. Also, any ends I'm either weaving as I go or actually crocheting them into the hat, but it's also because it's, inside, just tuck them in, so I'm not even going to have to weave in a load of ends at the end, hopefully. We'll see. And I will get back to you when I've done a little bit more. I've done about the first 20 rows now out of I don't know how many. And so yeah, I'll do a few more and report back. So I thought I'd share with you what I made last night. We've got this so far. I did from the midpoint of this cross to the end. This part here was a little bit trickier because the pattern doesn't share with you which stitches you are skipping. So it tells you to do the black stitches in the back loop only, but you actually have to skip certain back loops, and it doesn't tell you that. If you are an experienced crocheter, that's absolutely fine. It's, you just use common sense, you can count, you can work it out. So I just had to think about it a little bit and worked it out. But as a beginner, that would definitely stump me, I think, as a beginner. But other than that, I've really enjoyed the rest of it. I don't know if you can see, but this yarn here is this soft, fluffy one, and oh my goodness, it's so lovely to work with. It's not very structured. If you can see, it's in this bit here as well, and this is the bit that's going to be a bit floppier, which is absolutely fine. It's, a wizard's hat's meant to be crooked anyway. This bit here is surface crochet, and I haven't done much surface crochet before, but thankfully the pattern designer Earth Trick, she's got a lovely YouTube video on how to do surface crochet. So I had a quick look at that, and yeah, it was really simple actually, and that's it so far. So I will continue with this tonight, and I will let you know how I get on tomorrow. I did another about an hour and 40 last night, and I'm quite surprised at how long I spent and how little I accomplished, because the time just passed so quickly and I was enjoying it so much. But actually, I've only done... Ooh, it's attached to the yarn ball still. Here we are. I've only done, since last I showed you, from there to there. Obviously now as it's getting wider, each row is taking a little bit longer. But really not that much progress. I've done a few more rows. I really enjoyed these bobble stitches. Sometimes I often find when I do a bobble stitch, it doesn't actually stick out as much, or it sticks out, it just kind of falls a bit flat. A couple of these, not too bad, better than certainly some I've seen in projects, but they're not as, I suppose, as popped out as they could be. Whereas these ones, because it was 5 double crochets in the same stitch, 5 double crochet together, I suppose, isn't a bobble, it really does pop out. It's lovely. And again, the pattern just continues. All you really need to know for this bit is your basic stitches as well as your back post stitch. So far, so good. I'll try it on now. It actually fits me really well because I have such a small head. But obviously it looks a bit ridiculous. So yeah, we'll keep going. I'll meet you back soon. And it is now complete. It has actually been over a week since I last recorded. I've been struck by this horrible cold, which combined with being 31 weeks pregnant has not been fun. But I've managed to finish the hat, so I'll show you what the progress I made and the thoughts I had whilst I was making it. Here it is. Put it on for you. Here we are. Stands up as well. I'll insert some photos as well so it's clearer to see. So, last time I got to about here, I think, on the hat. So then we had this part here. Now, let me check my notes because I did write something about round 44. Okay, so this bit, I think it said to repeat it 14 times in total. But that seemed to be a miscount in the pattern because once I did that, I got to a total stitch count of, 84? But the pattern said I needed 90 stitches, so I worked out if I just repeated it once more, I would have 90 stitches there, so I think that was a pattern mistake. Also, it was fine to follow, but because here you go into the front of the stitches and you skip some of the back loops from the previous round, and then for some of the stitches you stitch into the back loops of the previous round, which is easy enough to understand. But if you're a beginner, it doesn't tell you which ones you skip the front loops of and go into the back loops of and which ones you don't. So if I was writing, I think it'd be really helpful to tell you how many you're skipping in a particular row. But once I got past that bit, that was absolutely fine. This bit also gave me a bit of grief, but that was my fault, not the pattern's fault. I really don't know what I did here, because I'll show you that bit. I think this bit's a bit nicer around this side. I thought it was a pattern mistake again. I was getting a different amount of stitches from what was in the pattern, so I ended up frogging loads and redoing it and doing it my way, but then I ended up with the same amount of stitches as in the pattern, so it turned out the pattern was right. So that was very confusing. But anyway, this bit got done, and then there's more surface crochet here, where you surface crochet around these kind of shapes that you've made. And I think, again, it would have been handy to know to crochet around the outside of it all, because I think it looks better when there's a bit of black inside than when there's a bit of blue outside. So if I was to do this hat again, which I genuinely might because I've got loads of yarn left over, I would do it like that. Then what have we got down here? And then the brim of the hat was really easy as well. That was just a load of increases, and you surface crochet on the inside so that when you are wearing it like this, then you can see the surface crochet there. Here you might just be able to see a little bit of wire. So it's the first time I've ever actually used wire in a crochet project. Sorry, still full of cold. I've been threatening to buy some for years, for like doll's arms and things like that. And this is the first time I've actually got around to it. And I think I used a little bit too much, because as you can see, it's a little bit wobbly. When I put it down on a flat surface, I can flatten it down and it is absolutely fine. It's just if like for example, I think my partner's wearing this for Halloween potentially, and it's likely to get a bit wavy, I think. As you can see, it doesn't lie flat, so that, again, that's my mistake, not the pattern. It did say
make it 2 centimetres larger than what you already have for the brim of the hat. And I thought, to be on the safe side, I'll make sure it's at least 2 centimetres, and not realising that if it was more than 2 centimetres larger, then it would, go wiggly like this. So again, if I was to do it again, I'll make that change as well. I will show you how much yarn I have got left. I'll be one moment, I'll go get the yarn. Here is my basket of yarns that I used for this hat. Most of them I didn't use loads of, like this sage colour. I'd say I've got closer to 100 grams left than 50 grams left, and bear in mind these were all 100 gram balls. Same with this lovely powdery blue yarn. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but oh my goodness, it's going to be nice. I'm actually make a beret with a few of these balls of yarn. We'll see. Whatever. This was this the cornflower blue or something like that? I've got loads of this one left, probably about 90 grams, maybe 80 grams. This one is the one I use the most of. I could weigh this and give you an accurate estimation of how much I used. Accurate estimation, an accurate answer of how much I used would be more appropriate, wouldn't it? So I would say about 50 grams of this, maybe 60 grams I used. So I've got about 40 grams left. And then the black, I'd say I also used about maybe 30 grams, and I've got about 70 grams left if I was to estimate. So I've got loads left, and definitely enough to make another hat, but I'd probably use the primary colour, would have to be something else to make sure I've got enough of the blues. But that is everything. There we are, just put the yarns down. I am very happy with the way this looks. I'm about to go take some photos of it now. I've got some ones that I think I'll array around it, something like that. If you want to see the pictures of it as well, do go follow me on Instagram at snowdrop.crafts. And I will see you in my next video. If you enjoyed this, please do give it a like. Subscribe if you can. I believe my next video is going to be all about everything I made in the month of October. Yes, so please do subscribe so you see the next video as well. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.